Well, it is just before 8 p.m. on Saturday, October 27, 2018, and this is the weather update as we watch this rather strong coastal storm leave our area. The rain has tapered off for the most part. We'll look at the radar. There's not much around, just some light rain. The winds are starting to drop off, but it's still quite raw and nasty outside with that just wind-blown drizzle. It's just nasty. So what I want to look at here is we're going to look at some public information statements from the National Weather Service regarding the situation in our area. So I'll first start with the coastal flooding and wind damage reports, all right, from the Weather Service. So we have a tree reported down on West Babylon. A tree is down on Merrick Road blocking, and this was in Wantagh in Nassau County. Trees down in South Hempstead. A non-thunderstorm wind gust of 58 miles an hour at Atlantic Beach. A wind gust of 60 miles an hour in Bayville. A wind gust of 66 miles per hour in Amagansett. Wow, that is impressive. And in New Haven, we have 3 large trees down in the lower section of Painter Park. I'm not sure exactly where that is in New Haven. Actually, it says West Haven. In Mastic Beach, we have a marine wind gust of 64 miles an hour. In Harbor Island, Nassau County, a flood, coastal flood, widespread tidal flooding of numerous roads in Island Park with water about 3 feet deep at the intersection of Suffolk Road and Sagamore Road. We have wind gusts at 60 miles an hour at Shinnecock. A coastal flood at Freeport, 2.5 to 3 feet of inundation along Freeport's nautical mile by the Great South Bay. Great Gull Island, a wind gust of 65 miles an hour. That's way out in Suffolk County. And a coastal flood in Kearney. So there's been some tidal flooding in New Jersey, too. A Route 7 in the area of Kearney and North Arlington line. We have wind damage, trees and wires down on Round Hill Road in New London, Connecticut. Flooding in Point Lookout, all lanes closed. Actually, though, this is 4 miles east of Point Lookout in Nassau County. A coastal flood, all lanes closed on the Wantagh Parkway, at the Ocean Parkway and Bay Parkway due to tidal flooding. So there was flooding at Jones Beach as well, and a flood at Gracie Square in New York. All northbound lanes of the FDR between East 80th Street and East 96th Street are closed due to tidal flooding. In Port Washington, several roads in Port Washington closed due to tidal flooding. Mill Pond Road between Liberty Lane and Shore Road between Small Place and Harbor Road. And in New Haven, a flood, several areas impassable due to tidal flooding, including the section of Sybil Avenue and Linden Avenue, Arc Road off Tabor Drive, and the South Montouise Bridge. In New Haven, a coastal flood of sections of Cozy Beach Avenue flooded from First Avenue to Phillips Street. All of these are Connecticut, so there's been a lot of flooding in Connecticut, too. In Fairfield, Fairfield Beach Road evacuated due to rising floodwaters. Several shorefront roads in Westport closed due to tidal flooding. In Norwalk, Water Street and part of Mack Street closed due to tidal flooding. Weed Avenue closed due to tidal flooding, and in West Islip, wires and branches down Higbee Lane. And Orient Point, part of the State Parkway in Orient Beach State Park, has been washed away. A flood in Riverhead, Meeting House Creek Road closed due to tidal flooding. And additional inundation observed along the Peconic riverfront. A coastal flood in Jamesport. Portions of Peconic Bay Boulevard closed due to tidal flooding. A coastal flood in Laurel in Suffolk County. And Peconic Bay Boulevard closed due to tidal flooding. And a coastal flood in Jamesport as well, in South Jamesport as well, with Town Beach Road impassable due to tidal flooding. So that is a lot of flooding reports. I'll provide the links for you in the description. And we're going to now look at the rain reports. Now, the rain wasn't that remarkable, so I'm not really going to go over this too much. Generally an inch of rain, maybe a little more than that in parts of northeastern New Jersey. Nassau County, generally an inch of rain in Port Washington. And Suffolk County, we also have Suffolk County got a little more rain now. Riverhead, 1.84 inches. Mastic Beach, 1.75. So the East End got a little more toward 2 inches. They got into the heavier rain just as we expected. In Westchester County, 0.88. Not too much there. In Westchester County, the highest amount, 0.88 at Jefferson Valley. All right, so we're now going to look at the products from Mount Holly regarding the rainfall amounts. Delaware got a lot more rain, over 2 inches of rain in Delaware. So Delmarva really got into some more of the higher rain amounts. That's not really in our local area, though. But the Jersey Shore also got into some higher rain amounts. Atlantic County, southern New Jersey, around Atlantic City, over 2 inches of rain. So that already exacerbated the tidal flooding that they must have had if they had any in that area. Cape May County, 2.30 inches of rain. Monmouth County, again, the amounts aren't that much, around 1 inch. Ocean County, however, got a little more. And if we go and we look at Barnegat, 2 inches of rain there. In Toms River, almost 1 3/4 inches of rain, 1.71 inches of rain. And I'm not going to show you Pennsylvania, but let's take a look at these wind gusts here. In Sussex County, Delaware, they had wind gusts up to 62 miles an hour. And in New Jersey, parts of Atlantic County Marina got a wind gust up to 58. Monmouth County, wind gust up to 58 at Manasquan. But the highest wind gust that we have seen is so far, this is 2 miles south of Seaside Park. This was reported at Island Beach State Park, a 67-mile-an-hour wind gust, which is absolutely just incredible. You're talking some really incredible winds. This was the worst storm to hit our area since Hurricane Sandy, actually. That's what a lot of people are saying. Let's see if they have any local storm reports here of the flooding. We'll see. Yes, we do. All right, so here we go. Non-thunderstorm wind damage in Ocean, New Jersey. A tree fell on a fence. Sussex, Delaware. A wind gust. All right, I already went over these wind gusts already. Wind gust 59 mile an hour. We're looking for flooding reports. See if there are any flooding reports because we already went over that. But there's been a lot of trees down as well in certain areas with these winds. And that's why there were so many power outages, especially in Jersey. Our area didn't get quite as hard with the power outage. I guess PSEG Long Island is doing a pretty good job with regards to that. I didn't really see too many widespread power outages. So most of these are just wind damage reports, trees on wires, power outages in Monmouth County, flooding on Interstate 95 near Betsy Ross Bridge. Power outage near Wendy's on US 1 in Ocean, New Jersey, and in Seaside Park, we went over that already. I'm looking for the flooding reports. All right, flooding on US Highway 30 in both directions, east of Berman Avenue and Tilton Avenue in Galloway Township. Tidal inundation, Debbie's Creek with several structures along the creek flooded. That's in Brielle. A coastal flood reported in Manasquan. Coastal flood reported in Manasquan. Where did it go? Here it is. Drawbridge Lane inundated. A coastal flood in Venter City, Atlantic County. Tidal inundation in Venter Heights with floodwaters approaching several homes. Coastal flood in Venter City, Atlantic, New Jersey. Coastal flood in... so there's been a lot of flooding along the shore here. Flood in Tuckerton and Ocean County. Inundation of Tuckerton Beach with water approaching several homes. Coastal flood in Manasquan. Several homes flooded, so people had to be evacuated because of this. Severe coastal flooding on Cheesequake Creek Inlet with several roadways underwater. This is in South Amboy. Coastal flood in Point Pleasant. That is several flooded roadways, likely impassable to vehicles. Coastal flood in Seabright, Monmouth County, several roads inundated. Coastal flood in Ship Bottom. Coastal flood in Longport, flooding on State Highway 152 west of County Road 619 in Egg Harbor Township. All lanes are closed. Several roads closed in Abscon, including South Shore Road, New South Road, Ohio Avenue. So just widespread flooding with this event here, and definitely the worst flooding event we've seen since the worst tidal flooding that we've seen since Hurricane Sandy, for sure. We'll take a look at some of these pictures here that we have. Here is some flood. Here's some flooding. This looks like, I'm not sure exactly where that is. And then we have this that happened here. This is why the Long Beach branch was suspended. You can see Island Park underwater, and a lot of part of Island Park was underwater today. And you can see the water was actually coming. If you look closely at the bottom, you can see that the sparks there. The water was actually coming into contact with the third rail. This was before they had a chance to turn off the third rail power in the area. But fortunately, service has been restored to the Long Beach branch. Amazingly, they did actually restore it, and they did get buses on scene within less than an hour. So they did a good job with that, considering the circumstances. I mean, this is a mess over here, a real mess, and it definitely brings you back to Hurricane Sandy. And here is some pictures from News 12 New Jersey of some of the flooding in Manasquan. And you can see here, yeah, look at that. That's really bad. So we've had a significant coastal flooding event, just as we figured with this storm. And this is definitely the strongest coastal storm, the strongest flooding event to hit our area since Hurricane Sandy. All right, so let's take a look at the models. We're going to look at the GFS and see. Here is our very strong coastal storm, now moving away from the area, moving up into the northeast, and behind it we have a rather stable, dry day tomorrow. Probably will be a good deal of clouds around, but there won't be any rain, and the wind shouldn't be an issue. Going into Monday morning, we have a front and a little piece of energy moving through that might produce some light rain over our area. Then that moves away by the afternoon. And then Tuesday, we should have a nice day, a sunny day with this high pressure moving in. And then what winds up happening as we go into later in the week, we have the ridge setting up, unfortunately. And that means a warm-up, but it also means we might be playing with a stalled front a little bit. Let's see what happens. So actually, it moves the front through a little more for the weekends. That's good. So some of the earlier runs had it stalling out. But there is another coastal low that develops, so we'll have to watch that next weekend. It looks like it develops a little too far to our east to impact our area significantly, and then that high builds in, and so we still have a continuing. And then for the weekend after that, we have another strong high. So the good news is we are in a more normal fall-like pattern. We are not going to see significantly above normal temperatures. If we look at the temperatures, you'll see the temperatures should be relatively normal through the period. We will into tomorrow, you'll see we'll have pretty much normal average temperatures, maybe slightly below average, but it does warm up a little bit Wednesday into Thursday, where we're going to see temperatures in the upper 60s those days, maybe nearing 70 in certain areas, but then it cools right down for the weekend again, and we stay around average to slightly below average through the period. All right, so that's the good news, and it looks like it cools down even more as we get into mid-November. So let's go and look at a closer look at our area. We'll take a look at the sky cover forecast, see when the sun will return to our area. So let's move this back over here. All right, so looking tomorrow, you'll see that actually it has a good deal of sunshine breaking out across the area. This might be a little over-optimistic, but it does look like it has a good deal of sunshine breaking out across the area, which will be good to dry out from all that rain we had today. Monday, there'll be some more clouds around, and then Tuesday, we have a nice sunny day. Wednesday, we will have increasing clouds. Probably still be a decent amount of sunshine, though. And then we'll have clouds at that front in the area Thursday into Friday, but then we try to get that front out of the way for the weekend. It might get hung up offshore depending on the strength of that ridge. But anyway, this has been one hell of a storm that we've been through here, and I want to actually look at a few more pictures if we can find any of the flooding. I have some more pictures of the flooding for you, and here we go. Roosevelt Island has flooding too. So here's some pictures of the flooding on Roosevelt Island. Here is the flooding in Island Park. So a lot of areas underwater in Island Park. Island Park is a very low-lying area, actually more low-lying than Long Beach. So They really get hit hard by the flooding. They were hit very hard during Hurricane Sandy. And then, yeah, this is what it looks like by the Long Island Railroad again. Wow, that's incredible. So, yeah, the Long Beach branch was suspended due to this flooding. Postal Service getting through. And there was also some damage there was also some flooding by Willets Point and this was affecting the Port Washington branch. We'll go to the Long Island Railroad feed, I guess, and we'll take a look at that. So, yeah, we had some issues on the Port Washington branch where there was some signal trouble around Willets Point, and that was resulting in reduced service. They had to reduce service to hourly because of a weather-related signal trouble. This was around Willets Point, probably related to the flooding, probably, because that Willets Point area is very low-lying, and I have a feeling that's one of the areas that gets tidal flooding. So I have a feeling there was some issues with that. I also want to look and see how if New Jersey Transit was affected by this as well. We're going to see if New Jersey Transit put anything up on there. No, I don't see anything, so I guess they were not affected. I guess not. Let's see if any buses were affected. Yeah, some of these bus routes were affected due to flooding. The 554 was on Detour and Abscon, and the Abscon Railroad Station was closed. Ocean City. So yeah, some of these routes were actually detoured because of the flooding. And let's see if and I imagine the N15 was, but Nice Bus didn't update people on that due to that. So there was some flooding by Meadowlands, flooding conditions in Woodbridge, flooding conditions. Let's see. See if we have any more. No, that's about it. All right, so that'll conclude this weather update. So it's been one heck of a storm for our area. You know, a reminder of how vulnerable we are. This wasn't even a hurricane, but definitely the worst storm to hit since Sandy. But fortunately, the power outage situation was. We're going to just look at the power outages. The power outage situation is not too bad. 991 people right now don't have power. So that's pretty good considering the storm we just had. And the hardest hit areas seem to be on the North Shore. No surprise, that's where all the big trees are. But anyway, that's going to conclude this weather update. Thank you for watching.